Morning, good afternoon, good evening, my friends. Welcome, pre-market here at SpartanTrading.com. It is Wednesday. Obviously, we have the FOMC today. We got a little bit of interesting drama going on right now, and that is Lagarde's comments, as well as some of the inflation numbers coming out of the UK. And you know, this stuff does matter in the scheme of things because it gives us an idea of what's happening. The ways because of the situation on the banking side, the liquidity issues. This is going to be a very, very challenging next couple months, I think, at least for bonds as well as for. I understand the tech. I understand all that stuff, but I'll be honest with you. On a risk reward basis, look, we are, for me, it's starting to get dicey, 50-50, right? I've got, look, I'm in everybody else with FANG, yay, okay. But I am slowly starting to take off some of the stuff, and I'm slowly putting on more hedges. And I think that's important to understand why we're doing that. Not this, like I say, this doesn't mean I don't like the market. But what it means is that we've got some interesting sailing going on, right? Okay. It's not, and each day is each day. And I did put on the one Tesla butterfly because, well, Tesla looks really good right now. So, and you know how this is kind of like a cult thing, but who knows, right? We just don't know. I think there's going to be profit taking before the FOMC. Twins has been posting what he wants to see. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if we're going to get what the market wants. And that, as a result of that, as far as I'm concerned, okay, the risk reward warrants me having some hedges on. Pretty much that's it. Okay. Still have quarter under deal work too. Now, this is the stuff that brought this to my pen. I would have figured it out anyways, but he showed me this. This is a problem, okay? Core inflation hotter than expected across the board. Lagarde spoke. She didn't have nice, warm, fuzzy things to say. As ECB Chief Lagarde says, inflation is still too high. Okay. This just doesn't feel good right now. So she's very hawkish, right? And I have a funny feeling that I think Powell's going to be a little bit more hawkish than as dovish. So he may be dovish, but not as dovish as everybody's expecting to be. I don't know. This just has the potential to be quite, it's going to be fantastic. We're going to have range, that's for sure, I think, right? Mortgage backs, okay. Now, once again, everybody poo-poos and all this stuff. And for those of us who haven't lived long enough, and I remember I tell you that back in the 60s, my father was so friggin' ass excited to get a 30-year mortgage at 6%. We live in a time of suppression in terms of quantitative easing from 2008, and a lot of these things are skewed. And we basically have a generation, right, who's, soon to be, right, anticipation and expectation of all this stuff it's kind of like what I said with some of these settled law stuff. This can go away at any point in time, right? So if you take a walk on the wild side, the reversion to the mean is closer to 7.5%. That's the reversion to the mean going back to the 1960s. Okay. And if you go prior to that, like I say, my father was absolutely gobsmacked when he could get a 30-year in the early 1960s, 6% mortgage rate. Okay, we're used to this shit. This is not normal. Since the financial crisis of 2008, this is not normal. That's quantitative easing. It's got to stop. Some of this stuff has to stop. Well, GameStop, huh? Jesus. What more can I say? But she whiz. That's all I can say is, right? Okay, so pre-market Ollie's, Winnebago. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, Bizon was out. Ollie's nice, and got high Gaia. Very, very nice. Woof, 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 woof. Right. Winnebago, be top and bottom. Not as big a loss as expected on the side. All right, round trip for Fed funds futures. We have to watch gold. That's all I have to say. We have to watch gold. We have to watch crude. Natty gas is selling off again. This is why I got my spreads on still. You know, I just don't know which way this goes. Okay. FYI, I just don't. So when I don't know which way something's going, right, I stay hedged. Right. Okay. All right, what do we got going on here? Small bank stress showing up in Fed funds rate. You want to play, you're going to pay. Of course, they have to pay more. That's what this is telling us. Look, until the government actually comes out with something sustainable in terms of this liquidity issue, right, with the inversions and stuff, okay, we're still at the mercy of more of these banks cracking, okay, without the proper funding. So FRC is saying, hey, we'll break ourselves up, okay, become smaller. But based on what they're going to try and sell, right, we'll see how that looks, right? So I am literally sitting on my hands right now. Okay, FYI. See what else we got going on here. Select your savings account. Okay, nice, 5%. Okay, why wouldn't you? just saying 5%. Why wouldn't you? Why not? I mean, you don't want to keep your cash in a bank because it doesn't pay anything, even at, you know, little old Schwab, right? UK consumer prices. Okay, food and non-alcoholic beverages, all items. This is stunning. Look at this. So this is that agricultural side, that little whack-a-mole I tell you about, right, in terms of costs and expenses. This has stagflation written all over it, right? And this is what things look like. Yay. Right, gold. Russia says the Chinese yuan is the preferred currency for financial transactions settlements between itself and related nations within the continent. Bada boom, boom, boom. This is how it begins, my friends. I know that, you know, when I dream big, and this is the only logical progression that I've been talking about for months on this, okay? This is the intent. This is what will happen. And the more, in more countries that basically focus on, that join BRICS and are going to align themselves with China, right? This is how it looks, okay? Now, don't forget, these are also nations that also believe in gold, okay? Just saying. This is the narrative that I keep telling you about, how gold is going to change its, you know, dramatically so, its importance as an asset class. And you can see that with cryptos as well. I don't know about cryptos with this one, but you know what I'm saying. If you own a mouse, you'll never turn off your computer. Okay, I don't do that stuff. Just saying, I don't do that stuff. Cynic speaks, trade FOMC with US, I wouldn't know way. I trade with us here. Francis President McClellan, the pension measure should be passed by the end of the year. Good luck with that. Look, there's so much uncertainty right now, right? Let's see what Liz has got. I don't like these types. This is what I like. Well, how does this look to you? If you rent, this is what's absolutely positively, and this is why so many people, especially those, it's just, this is not good. This is basically, I mean, this, look, this will be the generation my generation will be the last generation that probably will have that has a better quality of life than what's going on right now. I mean, that's the sad part about this stuff. That, when we do know that the greatest generation of all time is that of my father's generation. So this is what it looks like, friends. And to be honest with you, I don't know if this is just a cycle. I just think this is actually maturation in terms of what's going on. Fed wage growth, average wage, lowest, the highest, quartile. I don't know. What do we got? A rally in bank shares. Tuesday lifted U.S. stocks. We know U.S. home prices fell for the first time in 11 years. Well, not in my neighborhood. China's Xi, yeah, we know. Yeah, kumbaya. TikTok CEO plans to make broad promise. And we believe him. And we believe him. Potential asset, I have no idea what that means. I'll be honest with you. It's suddenly a lot more work. Yeah, that's for sure. It's insane how many, the lack of nonstop flights. That's all I have to say. Then rally U.S. News and World Report college rankings was decades in the making. You got that right. Whatever. So we talked about that. We know about Fed. I don't know. I just don't have a good look. All right, so this is on the hourly. This is for those of you who are interested. Elliott wave counts up here. Basically, that would be 40.78, and then he's looking for a pullback down here, shallow pullback. Then basically, like I say, God bless. That's all I have to say is God bless. Right. And basically this high he's looking for in June. And this low he's looking for beginning of April, so the end of the month. So, well, NVIDIA stock gains as answer praise UTC as says generative AI is here. Okay. If you say so. Okay. That's exciting. Up a whopping 84 cents right now. He's voiced on top line data for Nash. Nice. Federal Reserve faces dilemma. You got that right. Wow, see what the Wall Street. Yeah. Chip prices covered. Vaccine at 130 a dose. Okay, that's cool, I guess. This is horrible. Dormitory. Apple, Microsoft dominates U.S. markets after FANG trade fizzles. Well, what are you talking about? Jesus Christ. There is yeah. So nothing new there. Let's go, keep going here. That's old news. Let's get new news on here. Is everything new? Expect? Look, let's see what the dot plot looks like. But these numbers still are hot coming out. I don't know. When GameStop is the top discussion, right? That's what we got today. Now let's take a look at flow. Okay. What she got for us? Okay. TBT, IW, N, SLG, right? Tesla, Square, but then you look at Rivian, Tesla. Tesla was just nonstop yesterday, right? First time we've seen this in a long time, and that normally does get follow through on it as a precursor. So, just so you know. Oh, no, I did want that. So let's see what the volume looked like. The only one that had high volume was Tesla, right? 32 million, that's it. I mean, this is nothing. Remember the good old days? Nothing. What do we got? Not much, actually. PGOE, Paramount Group. And then we got Vera, multiple 14 buys, 30 million bucks. Yay. What do we got? Okay, so we obviously have a lot tied to options, BBAI. We got some directors selling a lot of money, but for this stock, it is a lot of money, and that's that. Let's keep going. I can't say this enough. I really feel comfortable being, you know, on a risk reward basis, you know, hedged. And I'm heavier. I mean, I'm not short, but, you know, I've offset a lot of my risk, I guess is what I'm trying to say, if that helps everybody. And then I'll be reactive, you know, once we assess. I think in my head, I see a pop, then a drop, but that's what I see. All right, AO, Interior Resources, downgrade from outperform to perform, market perform 87, but you know what? Okay, well, they get the idea. LAZO, Goldman Sachs, downgrade 35% lower. Okay, Altimmune, yeah, downgrade, but it's 21%. Yeah, I agree with Robert. I'm done with that stock. It was fun while it lasted, but you know, until they get through some of these risks, right? So, what do we got? SMTC, Semtech, 86%, 68, nice and juicy. Spotify, 71% from Guggenheim, nice. WMG, Warner Music, 71%. Nike, Barclays, upgrade. Yeah, Roper, but lower price. And then we got some second tier, right? SY, City, 42%. We're still seeing more upgrades than downgrades, which is kind of fascinating, right? I think so. Let's see what our little heat map's up to. Let's make sure this is correct. Yep, all reset. LQD, block. Oh my God. XLC, that's because of Google, right? Qs, right? Tech, right? Okay, there you go. What do we got here in terms of breadth? Okay, so we're starting to see, obviously, this is what it looks like when you start to get, you know, rally mode, right? Look, until we actually break out of this wondrous, nice size range, I'll have to see. You were hacked? How does that happen? That's interesting. That's interesting, Robert. I'm sorry to hear that. That's like being violated. You know what I mean? It's like, but I understand how that, I mean, someone's after you for sure. That's all I have to say is. All right. So let's take a peek here. What do we got going on? Okay, rankings, you can see that. You can see this. All right, let's take a look here. Optimism, XLB down, materials, biotech starting to curl up here, consumer discretionary, it looks like it's curling up, energy is down. All these are down, 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 down. Look at this, all of this. Retail, you name it. Gold miners heading up, technology, right? Semis, right? Utilities. This is not rocket science, right? I mean, just say not rocket science. All right, country ETFs, down, 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 down. And his bonds, investment grade, LQD, pop, 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 20-year TLT, pop. And obviously this is, you know, a little bit delayed, right? Bonds, right? Let's see, yada, yada, yada. Commodity ETFs, cattle, cocoa, coffee, copper, gold, crude. This is, I just, you know, like I say, I just can't imagine it's going much lower here. If we did it, I don't see it really sticking, to be honest with you, right? Look at this orange juice. That's all because of that frost. A lot of trees were damaged, right? Lumber. Look at this lumber. I think this would obviously be notable, right? If that one starts to get its jiggy going on, right? All right, bonds. Let's take a peek. Inversion is back, right? Front end, 2-year, yada, 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 yada. All rates up across the board, except, of course, Japan and Hong Kong. Look at this UK. I mean, this is no joke, those inflationary numbers, right? They got a problem, our Fed, that's for sure. And I don't think they're up to the task. I'm sorry, but that's my story. I'm still sticking to it. All right, here we go. This is the 5-2. I mean, this is such a massive range. I'll be honest with you, I just can't imagine us going much below or much above. I mean, this is, when you think about this range, okay, I mean, just for shits and giggles. Okay, let's see. In the past, in the good old days back here, okay. I'm trying to say that this would be 2018 to 2021. This is a 3-year range, and it took from 2018 to the downside here. That took a year to go up. It took a year. Just saying, months. Crazy. This is epic. This is history. And I just think this is what we're going to see because of, you know, the retail and all these, you know, spec players and hedge funds and all this shit. What do we got? Here's the 10-2. Okay, well, going back down. Once again, I think this is a massive range we're in as well. Okay, this is a, you know, this is the weekly, but I just think this is a massive range. Right. Then we're going to be in, I hope and pray this is just, I mean, we can go up and down and up and down. Here's the 210, and you see this is actually fairly stable, right? I mean, I don't have a lot of data on it, but, you know, double top, going down. Well, you know the drill again, right? Valley, it's around triple. This is going to take, yeah. Here we go. Here's the 35, right? So what would really bother me is the 10-3. This is a bear flag starting to crack, okay? So that would be very painful along the board, right? 10-year consolidative, right? Since September. Okay, we can deal with that. Chinese rates coming down a little bit. All right, so here's the Japanese balance sheet. They continue to add to it. This is insane amount of money. Right? They've been doing this since, I remember this. This started, well, you don't want to know about that. I remember this vividly, right? Here's the UK 5-2, right? So starting to head back down on the inversion. Here's the 5-10. You got it, heading back down on the inversion. Let's look at this on a monthly. Oy. German 2-5 spreads. I don't know, guys. I have a funny feeling we're going down here. Don't ask me why, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. You know, I don't know why it does this, but I hate it when it does that. Yeah. I don't know why, but I think that's where we're headed. Here's a German. I mean, yeah, you can see it. I mean, do you believe it? I mean, when you get this sort of instability that we're seeing right now, never mind, but you can see right here. I mean, right? And here's a German 10-year. That's going to be popping up. Now, in this one, I think we're just going to be in this. I don't know if we're going to actually break out of this range. Okay, but something to think about. All right, the dollar coming down. See this? This is an H on the monthly. No, weekly's an H. We now have a well-defined range right now, right? You can see that. I don't know what to tell you. Gold is up a little bit, but I mean, this is going to be interesting today as well, right? And here's the Chinese New Yuan, right? Cryptos, yay. Still green, right? Commodities. All right, so whack-a-mole time once again. It looks like it's 60-40. That's what it looks like right now. So what's up? Cotton, cocoa, right? You can see sugar, orange juice continues, right? That's a lot, you know, this goods and, you know, so this orange juice adds obviously on the inflation side, right? Copper, nickel, all up, zinc, aluminum, all up. Natty gas robustly down. We got gold slightly up, silver up more, and then we got crude slightly down. Nothing to discern. Natty gas is still doing its thing. Crude natty gas, this looks like a flag. That's why I think crude's going to break out. Isn't this pretty on the weekly? Well, you can see this is crude natty gas, but anyways. Let's look at gold crude. Got a hard rebuff there, right? That's okay. That's okay. This is a nice little quadrant we got going on right now. You know what? Yeah, that's it right there. This is our quadrant right now. So, and I'll even raise this up to here. Okay. We can have fun in that quadrant. And then gold in and of itself. Look at this. This is a multi-month sideways consolidation, triple top, bottom, triple top. Something's going to happen here, friends. Right? Stocks. Meh. Right? But agrees it's a slightly meh. DAX is up slightly, well, more green than red, right? Here in the United States, flattish, right? Overseas, Hang Seng, Nifty 50, everybody's up. Okay. DAX, still doing fine. Fez, pierced, then reclaimed. EFA, pierced, then reclaimed. FXI, I don't know, but it's still holding, right? KWeb, still holding, right? Let's do our CQQQ, but let's do our CQQQ. Okay, let's see if we break out here. This is a monthly, we're pushing on that top right now. And I mean, there's a lot of resistance here. That's all I have to say at this point in time. And you can see here's the next level. So this is obviously, but it's looking pretty good right now. All right, so that would be a plus for the market continuation rally. FANG basically got to the mid on the Bollinger, reversion to the mean. And we've got a double top there. Okay, so you know the drill. Until we break out, you got to peel some off, right? And Twins peeled off some of his Google stuff yesterday. and make perfect sense to me. All right, let's take a peek here. XRT, consolidation within a range on the monthly, nothing here. What the mid? Okay. Dow Jones. Still unable to break this out. This is really fascinating, right? This is like FANG. We got a quadruple top and then we got a quadruple bottom on this. I mean, you can see this, right? It's pretty obviously we're consolidative. A lot of these things, whether, I mean, we're just at the, I mean, we're just stuck. We're pinned, stuck. Like Mr. Rabbit. I don't even remember Richard's scary stuff. Cree. What do we got? All right, so it's trying to reclaim this. Let's see if it can. All right. XLY. This is fat. It's XLY, consumer's discretion. Let's see what happens here. But okay, I can say, well, we're consolidating in the upper quadrant, but then I can say, well, we can't get through these EMA resistance point. That's a 50-50. XLK, reversion to the mean, same thing. We really have to start pushing through this stuff. And we probably have to do it within the next month. Okay. XLP, consolidative, still holding this bottom here. Let's see if it can break this mini downtrend there on the monthly. XLC, once again, reversion to the mean. Okay. Still has a lot of work to be done. I do not know why that is there. XBI, this is interesting, right? Let's look at this on a monthly. Okay, the biotech. So we basically held this bottom, right? I don't know, keep an eye on that. I mean, it looks like it wants to bounce. That's all I have to say. And I do have stuff on right now. AOK. I don't have to comment on this. All I have to do is show you. This is actually interesting though. This next generation ETF, it's kind of consolidation on a monthly. AOKF. Ouch. Look, this is multi-month sideways consolidation here, right? Once again, multi-month sideways consolidation. AOKK. Once again, multi-month. All right, let's look at BFIT. Let's take a look at bets. A2, it has to break out. Okay, so it's waiting right there. eBiz, kind of going nowhere, but still holding. This is the mid on this range, but I don't know. ICLA, I actually saw some money coming into ICLN. I think it was last week. This is the clean energy ETF global. Bots. Look at this. Nice. Okay. This is robotics and artificial intelligence. Okay. At the 78, can't break and hold it. That's the pivot right there, my friends. So that would tell you things are going on. Smog, nothing. Drive, nothing. SMH. Okay. Let's talk. Okay. Once again, failure to break out, but holding up, right? Okay, let's see what happens. I mean, it's got to be NVIDIA, you know that, right? Just, that's not rocket science there. As social media, consolidative, right? Still has a way to go in terms of, but last month it did get to the 20 on the EMA on the monthly. What else we got going on here? Heave. So this is infrastructure. It's been, it actually is holding up okay. Okay, I missed this low. Okay, we'll see what happens here on the reversion to the mean, if it holds up or not. It's kind of interesting for me. The infrastructure, it has to happen. We know this domestically, right? We know there was an article that came out this morning that by 2050, cities won't have enough clean water to support their inhabitants. Okay, we know that. We know that all kinds of things are happening in terms of infrastructure. We know that our electric grid has an issue. Okay, we know this because of an aging situation. And it's just like with the oil companies, they didn't do what they needed to do when it was cheaper. And now it's so expensive, right? Gonna be fun. Wondrous world we live in, right? All right, so let's look at the battery stuff. You know this, lithium battery. Multi-month size consolidation, literally nothing here to be excited about, right? And then we got this being pinned right here with the Feb, right? So nothing there. Dead money, I guess, is what I would say right now. But I have a little bit, you have to, tan. So this is kind of interesting. I'm in tan, but I'm more in for solo just because I bought it on that fantastic earnings. I'm still holding on to that. All right, so this is what's the one that I'm really excited about, okay? All right, what do we got? Double bottom in place, check, check on the weekly. You know me, I love my double bottoms, okay? All right, made a higher low, check, check. So this is starting to be an A++ for me. Okay, now we got last week's high. If we can break last week's high, then we can revert to the mean. So you know what I'm in on this. You know, I'm in this, you know, UNH stuff like that. I mean, that's, you know, come on. I can't go beyond that, right? What else have we got? XLB. Okay, bottom forming here. All right, so let's, you know, I'm going to talk about this in the webinar. I think I'm going to talk about SPY intraday, as well as how to use these Bollingers, how I use these Bollingers, okay? XLU. Pop, you got it for the 10 EMA, and then stopped, okay? We'll see. A lot of these, I have to add the 10 EMA to a lot of these. All right, XLI. Consolidation, right? Industrials, right? But it's still holding this quadrant, which is kind of interesting and exciting, right? Reversion to the mean, it's holding. Well, this is the 20 and this is the 21. So that's kind of cool on the industrial side. iPay, consolidative, right? This is the super dividend ETF. What can I tell you on that one? All right, NASDAQ, this is the problem, right? Till we break, last month's high. Then we have to take this out. There's a lot of resistance here. Then once we start doing that, okay, then we can start looking, you know, on the Fib side, right? We're at the 38.2% Fib. And you can see that right now. I don't, you know, like I say, in my head, I see like a little pop and then a drop and then going like that, okay? And why I say that, because this is what I always say, when you get to the upper quadrant, you can't assume it's going to break out, right? You literally have to sell into that until it breaks out. Then you can start to roll, you know, and you need confirmation. I mean, it's not something you do, you need the confirmation to stick, okay? So if you look on a weekly, right? So basically you need it to break and hold above these weekly pivots. And then you've got room up to here, but there is a lot. I mean, we got a truncated W here, right? Or you could say this is a massive W going back here. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, irregardless. This is why when I get to a resistance level, I put my hedges on, because I have to wait for the risk reward to go from 50-50 to higher than that. Since we're in the upper quadrant, instead of selling out, I just put hedges on right now, because you never know, right? I still want skin in the game, but you never know. All right, let's talk about our Russell. Let's look at it on a weekly basis. But yeah, no, you can see it on the monthly. All right, so this is really what's really interesting, right? And so with all the poupon, now granted, it was up quite a bit, right? And it basically gave it all back, okay? But it's still green on the year. And we basically held this double bottom here, okay? So when it's all said and done with the poo Russell, okay, it's still, from a technical point of view, on a monthly chart, okay. Now, we did get pinned on a reversion to the mean. Where the trouble comes in, if we actually break and hold below this pivot right here, and then clearly if we do that. Now, don't forget, the Russell has weakened against so many things right now, right? I mean, if you look at the Russell against the Qs and stuff like. Now, the question I have is the, you know how we look at like transports as a leading indicator, right? So the question is the Russell a leading indicator for this market to the downside? I don't know. I mean, I literally don't know.
I'm about ready to pop on here. All right, guys, what's going on? Let me just pop up the screen share here. If you guys are popping into the YouTube stream, thanks for popping in this morning. Let's just get going here. So if you guys are new to chat, have already done so, make sure to click on that Discord link that's emailed to you. You're gonna pop into chat. So it looks something a little bit like this. First area you go to when you guys do pop in, disclaimer section, click on that, give it a read, as well as go to the new chat information section, scroll to the very, very top. Top of the section, you'll link to the disclaimer as well as this bolded risk reward section. Make sure to read through these two areas and think super important, in my opinion, guys. As well, continue to scroll down. You have the summary of how this chat works, breaks all these channels work on the left-hand side, so you can properly navigate the chat throughout the day. Continue to scroll down. We have the how to read alerts on the options and equity side, breaking down how to read alerts on both sides. Below that, the options rules that we like to use Monday to Thursday in regards to controlling risk, scaling in, scaling out, trading different price contracts, etc., etc. Below that, SPX rules that we like to use every single day. For the SPX ideas as well. So you can be following along there. Good idea to know what's going on. Any of the small account less than 10K, and just my opinion, but some rules, information, discipline you can put in place to get a better chance of running that account. And then last but not least, guys, we have the how to pick ideas from an options or equity perspective below that. Which basically breaks down how to overlay your own criteria on top of the ideas so you're looking for things that do make sense. All right, pre-market tickers on watch. What do we got going on today, guys? Tesla, KRTX, Ollie, ETMB, GME, FRC. Tesla gapping up a continuation, KRTX, Karuna Therapeutics prices 2.4 million. Share offering at 161.33 a share. Actually gap it up a little bit. Ollie, gapping up on their earnings. ETMB gapping up in phase 2B. GME gapping up their earnings, and FRC gapping down a continuation from last day's move into the end of the day there. Let's take a look at these names from a technical standpoint intraday. So the first two we're going to be looking at today, guys, going to be that Tesla and going to be that KRTX. So let's take a look at those two. Give me one sec, just moving to charts here. There we go. All right, so that's the KRTX. Let's have a look. Get some upper levels on Tesla here. You can see that obviously nice little flag break on the daily, back above all EMA support, pushing towards the top end of that range. Had great strength yesterday. One of the strongest names on the board. 196.23 pivot to the upside today. Level holds 201.65, 205.96 in my opinion on the upside. Unable to hold 191.57 to 186.33 on the downside. Going to be leaning bullish neutral on Tesla today, looking for a grind higher. Into the FOMC, looking for a little bit of a grind higher. Probably right before the first hour, 2 o'clock. Some profit taking. After this morning's move, but this morning I'll be certainly looking for a little bit of a push higher. Let's take a look at this KRTX. Okay. All right, pivot to the upside today. 172.20 level is able to hold 177.46 to 186.30, 380.65. Unable to hold 166.36, 160.16. On the downside would be tested. Overall on KRTX, going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side today, looking for a retest of that pivot, and we'll see if we're able to reclaim and get that continuation push today. That's Tesla. That is KRTX. All right, let's take a look at Ollie, ETMB. The nice little downtrend break on Ollie back above EMA support on the daily after the earnings. Pivot to the upside today, 58.15 in my opinion, level hold 60.02 to 61.52. Unable to hold, we look for a pullback towards 56.98 to 55.03 on the downside. Overall, going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side today, looking for a continuation push higher if that pivot point is able to hold. That is Ollie. Let's take a look at ETMB. All right, 1559 pivot to the upside today on ETMB. This level is able to hold. We got room for continuation 1674, 1817, unable to hold 1429 to 1225, in my opinion, on the downside. Overall, going to be leading bullish neutral as well, looking for a grind higher on this name as long as it can stay above the pivot. So we're watching for a hold of that level out the gate this morning for a continuation push higher. That's Ollie, that's ETFB. Let's take a look at the next two. GME and FRC. So GME actually some pretty solid earnings. Beat their EPS, actually making money. Great move on it as well. Pivot to the upside today, 26.38 level holds, 27.74, 28.77, unable to hold 25.01 to 23.46. Going to be leaning bullish, looking for a continuation push to the upside today. I think it can continue to squeeze on the upside as long as that pivot stays intact out the gate this morning. And last but not least, FRC, guys. Let's take a look at this. All right, 1457 pivot to the downside today, unable to hold. We look for a continuation of 1281. 1153, able to hold. We look for a push back up into the 1661 to 1847, in my opinion. Going to be leaning bearish neutral. Again, just my opinion on all these levels, guys. But yeah, going to be leaning bearish neutral on that FRC, looking for a continuation lower if the pivot's unable to hold this morning, which looks like that's probably going to happen. All right, let's take a look at the spine bank. So as we know, we do have the FOMC today. That's me speaking. Let's take a look at the market on the daily chart here. Let's just flip this over to daily. Let's do this. Hide that. There we go. So we got 398.50 guys on the SPY. Pivot to the upside today. You can see that we broke above the 50 MA on the daily yesterday. We'll see if that's able to hold this morning. So 398.50 pivot levels able to hold 472, 403.17. Unable to hold, looking for a pullback to 396.09, 394.16 this morning. Going to be leaning bullish neutral, looking for a continuation grind higher. So far, it seems like we can grind a little bit higher into the FOMC. Then I think we see some profit taking. A little bit of a pop. I'd like to see us into like the 472 level and then a little bit of a pullback. And then, of course, I did some levels out a little bit further for the FOMC release. The 405 up and then 392 down. That's a SPY, in my opinion there. Let's take a look at Apple. So Apple weekly range breakout on the daily, or sorry, on the weekly to chart to the upside. 158.72 pivot, in my opinion, to the upside. Level holds 160.09, 162.15. I need to hold 154.96. Going to be leaning bullish neutral on this one today as well. That is Apple. Let's take a look at Amazon. Nothing more right there. Amazon pivots to the upside today, 99.48. Level holds 101.20. That level breaks, you do have room towards that 104 level on the upside. Unable to hold 98.05, 95.75, in my opinion, downside. Going to be leaning on the actually bearish neutral side today, looking for a little bit of a pullback because it's slightly extended, and then we can look to see what happens, of course, on the FOMC. And all these levels, guys, leading are just in the morning, in my opinion, just because obviously as we get to the FOMC, things aren't really going to matter as much. From a technical perspective, it's just going to move on that news. All right, Netflix pivot to the downside today, 306.25 levels unable to hold. We're going to have room towards the 299.96, 295.89, able to hold 310.71 to 316.72, in my opinion, on the levels. Going to be leaning bearish neutral, looking for continuation lower. Just don't like the look of Netflix on the daily. It's been unable to hold really and push, so I think it's going to get a little bit of a fade out of the gate today. Let's take a look at Google. Sorry, Meta and Google. Meta was certainly lagging behind everything yesterday. The other, three FANG names at least. So Meta pivots to the upside today is going to be this level right here. 202.43 level holds, 206.12 on the upside, unable to hold, moving back towards 197.31. Going to be leaning bullish neutral only if we can get above that pivot point this morning. We can get above that pivot point this morning right out the gate, then I think we can push. Otherwise, I think it's going to fade off. So it's just my opinion there, but that's what I'll be looking for. So it fails. I think there's a decent little short in there for a pullback. Last but not least, guys, Google. Let's have a look. Google 105.08 pivots to the upside today, level holds 108, unable to hold. We look for a pullback towards the 101.91, 101.99 to 100.45. Going to be leaning bullish. You're looking for a retest of the pivot. Not sure if it's going to be able to get through that today. It had a huge run yesterday. Probably looking for a slight bounce there. Google, a little extended today, but it's going to be pretty much filling that gap right out the gate. So that's that. Let's take a look at the VIX, Qs, and IWM. So VIX, what do we got? So VIX 2120 pivot level holds 2248, 2354 unable holds 2015, 1930 on the downside. Not leaning any particular direction, but watching for direction on the market with that. Through 0743 pivot to the upside today. Levels able to hold 312.12, unable to hold 304.07, 298.47 downside, leaning on the bullish neutral side on the Qs. I like the Qs a lot more than the just market in general SPY, just because obviously it's got a way bigger tech rating. Tech looks good. You still got your flags on the upside here, and it looks like we can get continuation there. So like the Qs. And last but not least, guys, let's take a look at SPX. In my opinion, leaning bullish neutral there. And then SPX, same as the market, going to be leaning bullish neutral out the gate. In my opinion, pivot to the upside today is going to be this level right here, 399 or 39.97. Level holds 40.16, 40.28. Unable to hold 39.81, 39.69 downside. And yeah, leaning bullish neutral at the gate. So I'm going to go ahead and pass over to Selfbeach, guys, while I type the pre-market action plan, and then I will talk to you shortly. Selfbeach, you ready? It's all yours for now, my friend.
Hey guys, good morning. Okay, should be an interesting day, right? For sure. Anyway, let's look what the bond market's telling us out of the gate. All right. So not a whole lot of movement. 363 on the 10-year, down from 420, 415, something like that. And the spread is narrowed quite a bit. It's what, 37, 57, 60. Okay, so down from over 1. So no real change from yesterday, but you know that they're keeping what they had. Over in London, in fact, all of Europe rates are a lot higher this morning. All right, their 10-year in London is 354. Okay, so really kind of the same as ours. All right, it's slowly catching up to our rates. Their inflation it appears as though it's been higher than us. They had an inflation number today. I think they were expecting, I don't know, like 10, and it came in 10.4 or 10.6. So worse than expectations. And Lagarde has been very emphatic about, getting inflation down to that same 2% level that Powell's been talking about. All right, so rates are higher there, and you have an ECB meeting tomorrow. Not ECB. You have the British, whatever it is. They have a rate discussion tomorrow. BOE, I should say. Okay. So anyway, they are not inverted, the best I could tell. 356. Oh yeah, they have a slight inversion. First, no, flat, which has been the case. Okay, the rates are up 0.11 in Germany to 238, 16 basis points in Italy, 15, and you get the drift. Okay, so rates are higher. In Europe, slightly higher in Japan, but their 10 years 0.33, it got down to 0.25, and our rates are kind of hanging on. All right, let's look at commodities. Oil is dead flat for the most part. Still under oil, just peaked its head above 70. So it got down to 66. Now it's moving up, but by and large, it's upper right to lower left. I mean, upper left to lower right as far as the chart's concerned. Natural gas has no bounce in it, it seems. It had a small bounce last week. The guys on TV basically said it all. They have no place to store. There's a storage issue, okay, and they have no place to put it, and therefore prices go down. Okay, that's the reality. Gold has been super strong. It's basically flat today, up $1. Copper trading range and all these commodities have been, for the most part, some are getting smashed, like wheat is testing its lows, oats has been soft, lumber kind of soft, like that. But by and large, just trading like nothing's really going. I mean, not a whole lot of movement there. Dollar's down against North America, up against the yen, flat against China. Euro still at that 107 handle unchanged, and the pound 122 handle unchanged there. Crypto flat on Bitcoin. Ethereum is dead flat as well, and Solana is dead flat as well, down 2 pennies. And as far as the foreign markets, we got FTSE dead flat, up 9 points. DAX is up 0.5%. That's been the stronger of the European markets in the last few weeks. And looking at Asia, you got Nikkei up 2. China was up about 0.5%, and Hong Kong up 1 3/4. There's your backdrop. Okay. So today, of course, is Fed Day. Tomorrow you have the BOE. What's going to happen? Yada yada yada, like that. Okay. So we'll talk about it in a second. Let's just pass on it because that's really the topic of the day, right? China. Xi was meeting with Putin. That meeting is over. Very few details emerged out of that. Okay, there were no announcements of cooperation or documents signed. It just he was there for 3 days. They patted each other on the back and whatever. I saw a really good quote if I could find it. Oh yeah, the reasons for the meeting: Putin desperation, Xi opportunism. I think that paraphrases things really well. Okay, China was going to get what it can get. It needs energy, it needs food, etc., like that. And Putin needs a friend. Okay, and he would love arms, but so far China has decided to pass. Okay, only because they're getting strong armed by their trading partners that there'll be repercussions if they do. So we'll see how that plays out. Okay, crypto quiet, Mr. Market yesterday. So we had basically a pretty good high PE tech kind of day, right? That was where the strength was for sure. Let's see. So you had high PE tech was the #1 group. Big oil and gas was strong. Banks were pretty strong. HMOs. Airlines were strong. Insurance was strong. And FANG was somewhat strong. And on the short side, you had utilities, gold and silver. Okay, that was basically the gist of Friday. But with yesterday, and tech was really leading the charge. All right. Let's get back to the Fed. Okay. So what are they going to do? He's got a real problem here. The inflation versus bank stability. He's walking a tightrope, and it ain't going to be easy. So let's go to Rick Leader, who's probably the #1 macro guy there is. Okay, he manages a gazillion dollars at BlackRock, Manager of the Year, all this other BS. The guy's fantastic. So what's he saying? He's saying 25 basis points is what he thinks is going to happen. Okay, but he says the number is not really important. It's the explanation of where we are and where we're going. Does he support the banks? Is he confident in the banks? Stuff like that. He says the terminal rate will stay at 5.25 to 5.5, although today he probably says 4 3/4, 5. So, will they provide any type of pausing? He thinks they may say something like, 25 basis points and let's see how things go. Will they take a breather? We'll see what he says, but he's got a really tough job ahead of him. Commercial real estate is under pressure. Does he discuss that? The banks are under pressure. Does he cause that? He knows he's got this duration risk problem, okay, with these banks. So he's got to be really careful what he does here. And he says the stock market has got a real problem because he can get risk-free returns, or practically risk-free returns, at 5 to 5.25, no sweat. whether it's commercial paper or something like that. And let me tell you something, at 5.25% with the 18 PE, I think 5 and 5.25 is the smart trade. Okay, I really do. Instead of knocking your brains out trying to pick the right stocks. That's my sense. Okay, and so I feel that the stock market is in for rough sledding for a while because the competition is so fierce. And if they keep rates high, it makes it even worse. So he's not, he doesn't think we're going to go into a deep recession. So he didn't say we're not going into a recession. He says just it won't be deep. And bank lending, of course, is going to have new regulations, and that will cut back on liquidity in the system. Okay. The Fed has increased its balance sheet by $300 billion in the last couple of weeks. And that's exactly what they didn't want to do. So that's his issue going forward. All right. So blank fine, can't compare this to 08, but it's still concerning. All right. Difficult task, yada, yada, yada. You know, it's a tough thing. All right. And we'll see what he does. But I don't think that 25 or 0 is much of a thing. And right now the odds are 12% of people think 0, 88% think a quarter. That's where we stand. Okay. Credit tightening pretty much all across the board in the US. Loans are going to be harder to come by. And this is the outcome of this bank situation. Okay. Let's see what else we have. FRC is down a little bit today. It was down more last night. Maybe the rescue plan may rely on US backing to reach a deal. Okay, we know that as far as that Credit Suisse situation, PIMCO and amongst others had $100 million worth of bonds that are now worth 0. So a lot of losses in that. I don't know why they didn't know, but whatever. What else we got? We got Ukraine and China, drone strike Kiev. No, nothing different there. The Brits are saying that the Russian offensive in wherever that is, that town that they're all fighting over, is Bakhmut, I think is the name, is losing momentum, and Ukraine they feel is going to start, you know, a counteroffensive. That's been out in the papers for a bit. So we'll see what happens there. Putin and Xi would discuss. Japan was in Ukraine yesterday promising more weapons. And if you read the papers this morning, the US is trying to expedite those Bradley tanks sending over there, but it's going to take a while. I mean, like, I think they said by the end of the year, something like that. Pretty pathetic, actually, but it is what it is. And that's that. So they have two kind of tankers. They decided tanks not to give them the more advanced one, only because it's too hard to operate and it'll take too long to get there. This one was the faster of the two, easier to operate, quicker, and so that's what they're going with. All right. Trump is getting ready to get arrested for paying hush money to a porn star. So of all the things he's done, and we know that there's been some stuff, right, with taxes and whatnot. It appears that the porn star is the one that they're going after, all right? And he's supposed to be indicted. I mean, who really cares? Other than the fact that if he's criminally indicted and found guilty, he can't run for president, okay? You can't run for president with a criminal record. So I guess that's the objective here, but whatever. Some people like him, some people don't. I have no comment either way. Google started their what is it called? The AI product that they're going after to compete with Chat GPT. I think it's called Bard, and they're rolling it out in the US and UK. You know, I went to law school, MK, but I don't know shit about the law, so I'm not going to. If you know more than me, God bless. I can't profess to know how these things are going to work out. U.S. home prices in February posted their first annual decline in a decade. Tesla, as we said yesterday, their bonds are no longer rated junk. CS yesterday came out and said they were going to pay bonuses. Today, they're saying they're temporarily suspending bonuses. Okay, I guess UBS said not happening. FRC, I told you. SVB Bank had a lot of loans to insiders prior to them going Mahula. All right, $219 million. And that Archeos, Bill Wang, or whatever his name is, he loses his bid to have the charges dismissed. So that's the backdrop. That's the news. Okay. Individual names, we have GameStop, and that's dragging up some of these meme stocks with it. TBIO was good. KFS, HGY, Ollie's Basement, TravelZoo, all good. All right. Carvana is restructuring, I think, at like $1 billion in debt, and that stock is on the move on with that. Nike, you saw the earnings there. China was a problem. Their sales missed there, and that's why that stock is down. FRC, we discussed this. VORB that was flirting with bankruptcy. It looks like they're getting a $200 million investment, so the stock's up there. Diebold, who had liquidity issues, got $55 million there. PYXS got a $5 million investment from Pfizer. ETNB had positive phase 2 data. Boeing got an order from JAL for 21 737 Maxes, but their CFO is saying their defense margins will be negative. And the stock's down on that. Okay. What else we got? SMLR, CEO steps down, stocks up. And PACW was down a little bit. They used some of the money from the government. I think what they take in, like 3 billion or something like that, 2.1 billion of the government's offer. And so I think the stock, is it still down? Yeah. So that stock's getting hit on that. On the short side, we had the Nike, the Wolf, BZUN, Air, and Edible. CAMP had an offering, and Boeing, I just told you what's what in that. Okay. Research-wise, what do we have? ALT was downgraded by Goldman. You saw that stock got a little hit, not a little hit, got smashed yesterday. LAZR, neutral to sell it. Goldman, target 5, stocks 773. This call was interesting to me. Schwab. Barclays takes the target from 79 to 61, stocks 59. Okay, and basically they're saying estimates are too high, and borrowing costs are going up or whatever, some crap like that, but they don't like the stock. Stocks acted like crap. I think it's a value down here, but I'll have to reconsider based on this. I'll see how the action is today. What else on the short side? I don't think much. Oh, Triple M reiterates sell at Barclays. I hate that stock, and I think the CEO's garbage. What do people like? Micron, Citi thinks they're going to miss their earnings, but they love the stock and they have a 75 target, so go with that. NVIDIA, most guys are raising targets. There was one guy neutral, but for the most part, everybody likes it. Bank of America's got a 310 target, etc. like that. I think today is not, Meta was upgraded by KeyBank, 240 target. Most people are not bashful with Nike. They still like it regardless of what the earnings were. And I don't think they were bad, quite frankly. And that's really a DraftKings 28 target. It's Susquehanna. Susquehanna also likes ENPH. And that's the story there. The market. Okay, so when these numbers come out, guys, just for the record, the first move is always wrong. This is my opinion. This is what I've seen over the years. You guys who have been on the site for a long time know that this is generally the case. The first move is the wrong move. You got to wait and let them shoot their load and see what happens. And then the Q&A is going to be much more important than past Q&As. Okay, so pay attention to that. And generally, whatever way the market goes today, it does the opposite tomorrow. Okay, those are the two generalities. All right. And that's it. So we'll see what happens. I think, we'll have 2 days today. We'll have prior to the Fed announcement and after the Fed announcement. So be sure to get, in position. Don't wait till the last second, okay, to be flat prior to him talking. All right. And that's it for me. Spartan, it's all yours, my man.
All righty. Thank you so much, guys. Morning. What's going on? What's up? So if you guys are new to chat, already done so, make sure to click on that Discord link that's emailed to you. Pop in the chat. It's going to look something a little bit like this. First area to go to when you guys do come in, click on the disclaimer section, give it a read, as well as go to the new to share information section, scroll to the very, very top. Top of the section, you'll link to the disclaimer as well as this bolded risk reward section. Super important to understand both in regards to risk reward. Definitely worth going through, in my opinion. Continue to scroll down. We have the summary of how this chat works, breaks down how everything works on the left-hand side. So you can probably navigate the chat through the day. That's important to already be looking. Continue to scroll down. How to read alerts on the opposite equity side. Pretty straightforward in that regard. Continue to scroll down. Options rules that we like to use for the option ideas Monday to Thursday in regards to controlling risk, scaling and scaling out, trading different price contracts, etc., etc. SPX rules that we like to use every single day for the SPX ideas. Continue to scroll down. Any with a small account less than 10K, now just our opinion, but here's some rules, information, discipline that you can put in place that could help you grow that smaller account. And lastly, how to pick ideas from an options or equity perspective by overlaying your own criteria on top of the ideas, so you're left with only things that do make sense. All right, pre-market tickers I'll watch, guys. What do we got going on today? Couple different things. Tesla, KRTX, Ollie, ETMB, GME, and FRC. So Tesla gapping up in continuation. KRTX, Karuna Therapeutics prices 2.48 million share offering at 161.33 a share. Gapping up on that. Ollie bargain outlook surges over 10% on earnings beat, gapping up on that. ETMB gapping up on phase 2B Enlevin trial, and then GME gapping up on earnings, FRC gapping down in continuation from last day. Let's take a look at these names from a technical standpoint intraday. First two we're looking at, oh, sorry guys. So YouTube streams on, you can see all the charts posted. And then of course we have the written up chart here. Pause it, read this, pause it, read that. These individual names. And I think Beth posted the other shit. And there's the options chart as well. So a whole bunch of information there. So just pause the YouTube stream, you can read it. All right. What do we got going on today, guys? Let's take a look at the first two, Tesla and KRTX. All right, so Tesla, guys, pivot to the upside today. In my opinion, it's going to be this 196.23 levels able to hold with 201.65, 205.96, unable to hold 191.57 to 186.33 downside. Any bullshit, we're looking for a continuation push higher today if that pivot point's able to hold. KRTX 172.20 pivot upside today, levels able to hold 177.46 to 183.65. Unable to hold 166.36 to 160.16 on the downside. Any bullshit there looking for a continuation push higher. Let's take a look at Ollie. Let's take a look at ETMB. Ollie pivot 58.15. Levels able to hold. We're toward 60.02 to 61.52. Unable to hold 56.98 to 55.03 on the downside. Overall on Ollie leaning bullish neutral, looking for a continuation push to the upside today if that pivot's able to stay intact. ETMB 1559 pivot, level hold 1674, 1817, unable to hold 1429 at 1225 on the downside. Not leaning any particular direction on, leaning bullish neutral on ETMB, looking for a reclaim of the pivot, and we'll see if we can grind higher there. Let's take a look at GME, let's take a look at FRC. So GME pivot upside today, going to be 2638, in my opinion, level holds 2774, 2877. Unable to hold, we look for a pullback on that name into the 2501 to 22 or 2346 downside, leaning bullish on GME, looking for a continuation push higher if the pivot can stay intact. And lastly, FRC pivot to the downside today, 1457, unable to hold 1281 to 1153, able to hold 1661 to 1847, leaning bearish neutral if that pivot breaks today. We'll be watching for a fade off. If it holds, of course, you can get a continued bounce. We'll see what happens. Let's take a look at the spine thing. Oops, let's look over here. Guys, market pivot to the upside today is going to be the 398.50 level holds, 472, 403.17. Unable to hold 396.09, 394.16 downside, leaning bullish neutral, looking for a continuation push to the upside today. Apple pivot upside 158.72 level holds 160.09, 162.15, unable to hold 157.34 to 154.96 downside, leaning bullish neutral there. Let's take a look at Amazon. Pivot to the upside today is going to be the 99.48 spot, level holds 101.20, unable to hold 98.05 on the downside. That level breaks. You're looking for 95.75, leaning bullish neutral on Amazon, looking for a continuation grind higher on that name today. Leaning bearish neutral on Amazon with the gate, looking for a little bit of pullback on the extension, in my opinion. Netflix 306.25, level holds 310.71, 316.72, unable to hold 299.96 to 295.89. I'm leaning bearish neutral on this. This name's been unable to really hold up, get that push that everything else has. So Looking for relative weakness on that again today. Meta pivot upside today, 202.43 level holds 206.12. Above that, you do have room to 212. Unable to hold 197.31 to 193.30. In my opinion, of course, I'm going to be leaning bullish neutral, looking for a grind higher as long as that pivot could be reclaimed this morning. So I'll be watching that. Meta leg behind the other couple names yesterday, so I think you can see some rotation into it today. Google 105.08 pivot level holds 108. Unable to hold 101.99 to 145. Gap polarity is around 102 on the daily extension. So we'll see what happens. I'll be leaning bullish once that occurs, looking for a grind back towards that pivot point. Let's take a look at the VIX, Qs, and IWM. So VIX guys pivot to the upside today, or downside, sorry, 2120. Unable to hold 2015, 1930, able to hold 2248 to 2354. QQQs. Pivot to the upside today, guys, is going to be the 307.43. That level holds 312. 12. Unable to hold, we look for a pullback towards the 304.07, 298.47 on the downside. And last but not least, guys, let's take a look at the SPX. So SPX pivot to the upside today. We got the 39.97 level holds 40.16, 40.28, unable to hold 39.81 to 39.69 on the downside. So anyways, guys, that's the YouTube stream. Thanks for popping in, giving it a watch today. If you guys want to come join us, you can certainly do so. Go to SpartanTrading.com, go through Twitter. There's some promos there for you. And that's it. Thanks for watching, my friends, and have a good one.